This AI is boring, but it's already saving hotels over $30,000 a year. Let me show you how. It speaks many different languages, it works 24/7, and it also makes reservations directly into your existing PMS. So to help you out today, I'm going to show you a live demo. Second, you'll actually see the softwares, the tech, the prompts, everything I use to build the AI. And third, I want to give you a cost breakdown so you can decide if this could be the smartest hire you make in 2025. Watch till the end because somewhere in this video I've hidden the exact prompts and templates I use to build this. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. My name's Liam. I help businesses all over the world save tens and tens of thousands a year using AI. So if you'd like to explore how we can do the same for your business, you can use the first link down below to book a free AI consultation call. I'm limiting the spots to only 3 people per video, so I hope to see you in there, and now let's dive into the live demo.
Hi, Liam Parker. Thanks for calling the Grand Hotel Zurich.
Hi.
I'm Kate. What can I do for you today?
Yeah, Kate, I'd like to stay for 3 nights, please. Is that possible?
Sure, Liam. Do you know which room type you'd like to stay in? We offer deluxe, standard, and grand suite rooms.
Yeah, what makes the Grand Suite special?
Our grand suites are quite special, Liam. They offer significantly more space than our other rooms, featuring separate living and sleeping areas, a large bathroom with a luxurious soaking tub and separate shower,
Okay.
and stunning city views.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. Let's
also-
just go ahead and book that one if that's possible.
Wonderful. Excellent choice, Liam. Can you please share the dates you would like to stay at the Grand Hotel Zurich?
Yeah, would it be possible to stay from June 20th to June 23rd?
Sorry. So, Liam, just to confirm, you'd like to check in on June 20th, 2025, and check out on June 23rd, 2025. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I'll just quickly check our calendar. Unfortunately, the dates of June 20th to June 23rd are unavailable for the Grand Suite, but we do have availability from June 21st to June 24th. Would you like to book the Grand Suite for those dates, Liam?
Yeah, fantastic. If that works, we can do that as well. Yes.
Great news, Liam. So I will book the Grand Suite for you from June 21st to June 24th. Would you like any special requirements or preferences for your stay this time? Last time, you ordered coconut water.
Oh, you remembered. Yeah, fantastic. Yes, please.
1 second, I'm finalizing the appointment. Everything is set, Liam. Your Grand Suite has been booked from June 21st to June 24th. We've also added coconut water to your preferences. You should receive a confirmation email shortly. Thank you so much for choosing the Grand Hotel Zurich. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Bye-bye. And there we go. As you can see, it made the booking in our system. I know this is just a Google Sheet, of course, but in reality, we'd use your actual booking software. But for the example, I believe Google Sheet is very easy for you to understand. So it made the booking. It was able to check the past bookings and remember that I ordered coconut water the last time. It checked in the Grand Suite, realized that the 20th wasn't available, but offered alternative times. And then it also sent a confirmation email with a booking ID telling me when I can check in, when I can check out, and even told me that the request for coconut water will be taken care of. So how does this actually get built on the back end? Well, there's a couple of softwares that you need for this. First of all, you'll need Make.com. Second, you'll need Vappy, and you'll also need an OpenAI subscription. This depends a little bit on what you want to do, but for this example, you will need it. So I will go through this at a relatively fast speed. I don't want to bore you with completely technical details, but the most important questions I want to answer is what options do you have? And also, how have we made this very robust? So how does this not make mistakes? How does it not accidentally make up information that isn't there, right? Because hallucination is always a thing that we have to think about. A lot of this gets eliminated by testing, but let me walk you through this step by step. So in Vappy, you can create a new assistant, and then you can choose the model that you want to use, right? There's tons of different models, but I always like to go with OpenAI 4o Cluster. It's very reliable. And as you can see, we first of all specify a first message, right? And as you can see here already, we have a little variable which says name. Now later in the prompt, you will also see another variable called preferences. And these are things which get dynamically sent into the prompt before the call starts. So before I actually show you the whole prompt and all the settings in here, let's do this in order. So when the call starts, we have this make.com workflow, which is basically a webhook which gets sent. Every call that goes into your account gets sent to this webhook. Now to set this up, you'd copy this and you'd go into your Vapi account. There we go. And then they change the settings around quite a lot, actually. So you have to look around a little bit. It'll probably be under settings and then organizational settings. And then here under server URL, you'd paste that URL in here. Now, every call that gets sent to there goes into here. And then we first of all search through the Google Sheet based on the phone number that's calling. And if in our Google Sheet in the past bookings, it sees, oh, look, this phone number exists in our system, then we know this is your email, this is the name. These are the preferences that pre-exist, right? And then we format everything into the right format. I don't want to bore you with any of these details, but effectively we then send these variables back into Vapi. And as you can see here, we have this thing called assistant overrides and then variable values, which is where these values are sent, right? The name and the preferences that got extracted get sent back into Vapi and are now injected as part of the prompt. And this is great because it eliminates a lot of misunderstandings, right? So there's no misunderstanding of emails or names, which is fantastic. Now, in terms of the prompt, it's I don't want to go into like every single line that I've written here, but effectively you give it a role, tell it who it is, tell it where it works, give it a step-by-step instructions, including things like make sure you confirm the date before you use a specific tool, which we'll get into next, and little things that you pick up over time, like how does it pronounce the phone numbers, how do we make sure that it actually knows the current date. This is really important for booking, that it knows what the current date is, so when the caller says, can I book tomorrow, it needs to be able to answer. All right, in terms of the tools that we attach to this agent, there are 3 tools. We have an information tool used to answer questions, checking the calendar, and booking. There's many more you can add, but these are the 3 I have for this example. So the information tool is basically a tool that you can use to answer questions, and you give it a description so the agent knows when to use it. And then you upload a file in here. You grab the file ID and add that to the query tool down here. So now the assistant knows that we can use this tool to actually search and answer questions. Like, for example, what's the difference between a grand suite and the rest? And in terms of checking the calendar, once again, telling the agent when are you allowed to use this. And then it's supposed to extract the room type, the check-in date, and the checkout date. And you can also tell it this is how you should format the date. In the room type, I've added this thing called enum values, which allows you to give it options so that now it only chooses from one of these 3. And it can't make up other room types. And then once all of those are collected, it sends it to this URL, which is in our next make.com scenario, the server URL of the webhook. By the way, in case you want to download these templates and also the prompt, I'm going to leave a link down below where you can download them completely for free and import them into your make.com and Vapi accounts. To do this, just click on the 3 dots, import blueprint, choose a file, and then upload a file that looks like this. And by the way, in case you need help customizing these or you want to adapt them for your hotel, you can use the first link down below to book a free AI consultation call. Now, how does this work? We have 2 tools in here. First of all, the check availability tool. So we filter if the tool is called check calendar. It'll first of all search the Google Sheet. In the sheet, in this case, it would be the Grand Suite, right? And then it would check what times are available, and then we'd use this OpenAI module to actually, to actually give an answer. Most booking softwares do this automatically. It'll tell you available or not available. Google Sheets doesn't have that option, so I had to use OpenAI. And it can also, of course, suggest alternatives like you heard in the example. For actually making the booking, we use this tool, which then extracts the name, the room type, check-in and checkout date again, but also the preferences. And then it sends it down here because this tool is called Book Calendar. We first of all search in this Google Sheet again in the past bookings, because now we can extract once again, the email or the name, just to double check. It's always a good practice. And then we update the row of bookings. So this is how a new booking gets sent into your system. We'd add the name of the caller, the email, which is once again taken from past bookings, for example, the phone number that just called, the room, the check-in and checkout date, and the preferences. Then we use OpenAI to write another email. And in here, once again, you can send all of this information into AI, which then writes an email. And make sure to format this in HTML so that it populates correctly. And then we send the result of that, to the email that we extracted, and then tell the customer that everything's been taken care of. Now, that in a nutshell is actually the system. And as you can see, the most important part or thing that you should take away from this is that all the AI does is choose when do I use which tool. The AI, it doesn't make changes in your system, right? This is a piece of code, right? The code, the workflow here makes changes to your system. So when, for example, when somebody asks, can you tell me the revenue of the hotel, or can you delete all bookings? It just physically can't, because this is a fixed set of actions it can take. The worst thing that can happen is that it maybe misunderstands your name and books it under the wrong name, right? But even for things like that, we have systems like it can send you a text message to confirm it, or as you can see, we can use past information. So it's extremely robust, and because it only has to decide which of these workflows it will use, there is an extremely low margin for error. All right, so now let's get into the usage costs of the AI, which is very interesting for your business owners watching. Now, the important thing to take into account is the AI price per minute. Now, as you can see in our example, the VAPI cost is around, let's see here, for this one, it was around 11 cents per minute, which is already extremely cheap. They used to be at 17, 18. Occasionally, you can get them down to 9 as well, but 11 to 12 is a good metric to calculate with. And this also depends on the skill of the agency you're working with, right? If somebody is just not that skilled at prompt engineering yet, the prompt will be way too long, and therefore it will cost more money. Now, in terms of the comparison here, if you compare this to a human working at, hopefully you're not paying them minimum wage, but if you're paying them normal money, it's around 3 times cheaper than a human. Now, I've done these calculations for 100 calls a day, and you can see that in here, we have, if you kept the system only for 12 months, this is basically your savings and spendings. So without AI, an average receptionist salary is $3,500. And for 100 calls a day, you might actually need more than one receptionist. So this is on the conservative side. But say we were just able to help one receptionist not answer the phone anymore, so she can focus on the guests, you would effectively save hiring another receptionist. Now, this is the without the AI column, right? You'd keep paying $3,500 a month. Now, with AI, there's 2 parts to it. We have the setup and then the usage. So the setup depends on the agency that you're working with, right? $5,500 is a very average type of deal size. Depending on if you're a larger or smaller hotel, this can vary, of course. And then you have the usage costs. So for 11 cents per minute times roughly 3 minutes average call, 100 calls a day would be around 1,023, right, a month. And this is working 31 days, 24/7, so that's pretty good. Now, in terms of the savings, because that's the most interesting for you, you can see in the first month, the setup fee is larger than what you'd pay a receptionist. But at the second month already, you're saving, quite a lot of money, adding up to 27,000 over the course of the whole year. Now, this is my favorite part about AI, because you are actually getting paid to have, of course, cost effective, right? As you can see, but you're getting paid for having 24/7 service. AI can handle a huge volume of calls at once. It is nuts. So there's no wait time anymore. It remembers the customers. It saves your staff time. So overall, you're getting paid $27,000 a year for having better customer service and no lost bookings. We haven't even factored in the amount of bookings that you make, because this thing can work 24/7. So I think it's pretty easy to see the value here. And if you have any questions about the specifics of the price, that's what the AI consultation calls are for. So if you're a business owner looking to adopt AI and think this looks interesting, that's where you can work with me and find out how we can customize something like that for your business. I hope you learned something new, got some value from this video, and I'll see you in the next one.